All right, James Cameron is hinting that a new Terminator film will be his next movie. Whether it will be a reboot or not, who knows? It's interesting. So we're going to take a look. We don't know what he's going to be doing post-Avatar Fire and Ash. He hinted recently saying, well, making the suggestion that if Fire and Ash doesn't earn, a great deal of money, that may be where it ends. I don't put much stock in that, to be honest. I think ultimately these movies will just continue on and on and on, which is neither here nor there. Did he say he wanted to make like 7 of them or something like that? Or 5? Wasn't it 5? I think it was 5. But anyway, point is, we don't know what's been happening in the Terminator world for some time. And he was supposedly writing a new Terminator film. And so now we're getting some more information about the prospect of that happening. Because his direct quote is actually in this article. But previously he'd said, oh, hey, I've got to wait and see what happens with AI because, well, I don't really know, because we're living in a sci-fi world or something like that was basically his point, which I think is a bit silly, really. You shouldn't wait to see what AI does. If you're creative, the implication is that you would be ahead of the curve, not waiting for the curve, sort of the break of the wave. You'd be ahead of it. But anyway, it is what it is. This is interesting nonetheless. So this is just a quick article which just has the information from IO9 and then his previous comments as well. So he spoke about artificial intelligence and things like this. And he previously teased the return to the Terminator franchise. So he shared the update with IO9 and he said this: I'll have some time to write and to consider my next projects and the order in which I do them. Because there was also some thoughts that he was going to do Ghost of Hiroshima or Hiroshima as his next movie. But then he, again, most recently in Fire and Ash marketing, he'd said, well, actually, that was just to get there was buzz around the book. So that might not be the thing either, which is just okay. But you're fine. And so he says, and so on, once we're done with the marketing on this in a month or so, I've got a stack of notes this thick. And so he apparently held his fingers 3 inches or so apart, which is how I start all my scripts on what I want to do with the new Terminator film. So that's the point. He specifically said he's going to decide what he does and in what order he does them in, like his next projects. But he specifically mentions the Terminator film. And he's got lots of notes on that Terminator film. And he says, I'm going to pour myself into that as a writer. So it's implied that that's going to be his next movie. Whether he's the director or not, he's going to be the writer at the very least. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I mean, it was his idea to kill off John Connor in the start of Terminator Dark Fate. In fact, the majority of that movie was his idea. And he sort of sold the rights back to David Ellison of Skydance, which I think was a pretty big mistake of his, but fine, whatever. I mean, he's not really interested in Terminator anymore. He hasn't expressed a lot of interest in the franchise for a very, very long time. This is a surprising amount of interest. Quite rare. But it does look like that's going to be his next film. And he says, it's difficult. I have to tell you, science fiction has caught up and is actually overwhelming us at this point. We're living in a science fiction world. And we're literally having to deal with problems that in the past only existed in science fiction books and movies. Now we're living it for real. Like what? What, AI? I mean, AI is a probability machine. Like, it doesn't really do that much. I don't know. I don't put much stock in the fact that we're apparently living in this great grand science fiction reality. I mean, we're not really, are we? Like, I don't think so. It's not like a bit dystopian, but it's not exactly like a science fiction reality. I mean, we don't have robots walking around, AI, as we know it, is just a probability machine, so it's not that good. I mean, it's fine, but it's not that good. I don't know. I don't think much about these comments, to be honest. And he says, I'll never be as prescient as I was back in 1984 of imagining this one, because I don't think anybody knows what's going to be happening a year or 2 years from now. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to be as prescient as I was back in 1984 of imagining this one, because I don't think anybody knows what's going to be happening in a year or 2. Mate, 1984, you predicted Skynet was going to take over the world, and we were going to have Terminators walking around killing people. I mean, that's not happened. What are you talking about, mate? What? Yeah, no one knows what's going to be happening in a year or 2. You didn't know what was going to be happening in a year or 2 back in 1984. What are you actually talking about? This is so dumb. Like, actually dumb comments, but fine. But I at least want to future-proof myself by being a couple years out. Mate, we're way off Skynet happening, okay? Sorry, hate to break it to you. Skynet hasn't happened. It's not going... It's highly unlikely to happen. And Terminators, we're way off Terminators, okay? These robots can barely walk around these days. Like, they're all right, but they're not that good. You think you're going to have like an army of these machines? No. I mean, you'd be more accurate if you just had drone warfare in the future. This is so dumb. But like, oh, well, you know, we don't know what's going to be happening in a year or 2. Yeah, that's called creativity. I don't know. I've always found his comments about the next Terminator movie really annoying. Because... Well, yeah, because what on earth is this? To be like, well, we don't know what's going to happen in a year or 2 from now. So, yeah, no one knew back in 1984. You didn't know what was going to happen in a year or 2 from now. What are you talking about? Shut up. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, and this is what he said before. I've been tasked with writing a new Terminator story. I've been unable to get very far on that. I don't know what to say that won't be overtaken by real events. We're living in a science fiction age right now. That's what he said in September. But we're not, though. Like, we're so far off Terminators walking around. Just do that. Better yet, cap the story. Have the future war. Have John Connor storming Skynet, beating Skynet, and have it as a cyclical moment in time. Terminator gets sent back. Kyle Reese gets sent back. Skynet's ultimately wasted, though, and we live and we learn that this is a moment of cyclical time travel. It's a bubble in time, but Skynet will always lose, and the events of John Connor will always happen, and then the rest is history. Why don't we just do that? God damn, I'm trying to think that you're going to out... I mean, what... AI's not... What are you... Science fiction isn't that good. Alright, we're not even really in space. Come on. We're not living in a science fiction age. Yeah, there's some good stuff. But there's certain parts of the planet that can't even get internet. So we're not that ahead in science fiction, are we? Like, let's be honest here. Anyway, there you go. Sounds like it might be his next movie. At the very least, his next movie that he's writing. What do you guys think? What do you hope for it to be? I always thought Terminator was best as a 3-movie arc. I always thought it would be better if we had, you know, the 3rd movie be the end cap of the cyclical moment in time. But what do you think? Let me know down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.